grilling.
Cool.
So there you go. Some baked chicken
Ted
and
in
broccoli.
Georgia. I like chicken and broccoli.
That looks some delicious baked chicken right there.
It does look good.
Uh-oh, here's our phone call. Here, back it up to that deal.
I will.
Spicoli TV, hello.
Hey, man, it's Conrad Thompson. How are you?
Good, sir. How are you this evening?
I'm very well. And yourself?
I'm doing very good. Thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule over there at the Conradison for calling us.
I appreciate the opportunity, man. Thank you, sir.
Well, I absolutely, I'm talking to Conrad Thompson. He's the owner of the Conradison. He's the former co-host of Woo Nation with Ric Flair, and now the co-host of Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard. I love the way you pause when you do that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Not a lot of people got the deal right at first, but I think everybody's catching on now. Just having a little fun with our buddy.
You do such a fabulous job of it. Tell the people here on our show, you're live right now on Spicoli TV. We're in Tampa, Florida, and we're both huge wrestling fans. Myself and my co-host Smitty here with me, we're lifelong friends, and we grew up here in the Tampa area, and we're lifelong wrestling fans. Did you grow up in Alabama?
Yes, sir. I grew up in right outside of Montgomery, Alabama, in a town called Prattville, and then I moved to a small lake city in northern Alabama called Gunnersville, and now as an adult, I've lived in Huntsville, I guess, for 16 years now.
16 years. Okay.
What wrestling was that you grew up on? Was that NWA?
Yeah, by the time I was watching, the WWF had kind of taken over.
Okay.
My first show that I remember is from 1988. It was WrestleMania 4. I saw a VHS, and I was hooked right away.
Gotcha.
I grew to love the NWA, but as a fan, as a kid, man, it was hard to beat Hulk Hogan, the Macho Man, the Ultimate Warrior. But when I got a little older and got into tape trading, which isn't a thing now anymore, but in the late 90s it was, I fell in love with all things Jim Crockett Promotions.
Yeah, unfortunately, we weren't exposed to the WWF till the latter part of the 80s. And growing up down here, it was all NWA. We grew up with the Eddie Graham territory. And not that there's anything wrong with it. I mean, the Sportatorium and are you familiar with Fort Homer Hesterly Armory?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Being the home of Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, we spent quite a few nights there on Tuesdays, and man, the atmosphere alone in a small venue like that with no air conditioning in the middle of summer as a child.
Big fan blowing in the background.
It was just the greatest thing in the world. And, you go to events now and they're really good. They're really, their production value is really good. There are lots of people and everything. But growing up with that small atmosphere and what we grew up with was just like a hometown atmosphere. And I miss that so much.
No, I agree totally. I had the opportunity to go see the ECW Arena when it was still the ECW Arena and see ECW shows there. And, man, what a treat that was. If I had it to do over again and I had my choice of going to see an ECW show in front of 1,000 or 1,100 fans or going to, a dome show with 70,000 people, I'd still probably lean towards the more intimate atmosphere of an ECW Arena-style crowd. So I totally get the analogy you're making.
Yeah, I've been exposed a little bit. I keep missing the NXT keeps showing up here in town in Tampa, and I keep missing their shows. I find out they're happening like the day of, and I'm like, oh, great, And I like that stuff. I love what they're doing, and I want to see more of it. There's a lot of guys that I'm interested in NXT right now. Austin Aries, is he hurt?
I don't think he's hurt. I think it's just a situation where they want to try to build towards him being more of a wrestling personality and then build towards a match. And truthfully, there's more longevity in that. He's been around the game for a long, long time. I've been a fan of his since 2004 when he had a series of matches with Bryan Danielson. They almost had a little bit of a can you top this that year with longer and longer and longer matches. And then after a really long run, Aries was the first guy to beat Samoa Joe, and at the time, that was unheard of in Ring of Honor, that somebody would beat Samoa Joe. So I was a huge Austin Aries fan from then, and I feel like they're trying to just showcase his verbal skills and give another slant on the 205 Live sort of concept, and then eventually build towards a match, or at least that's what I hope they're aiming for.
Yeah, I noticed that they're pushing that 205 a lot now, and he seems to be out there every time there's a cruiserweight wrestling match. He seems to be out there commentating, which I don't mind. I think the guy's great on the microphone. I'd like to see him work more as a worker. I think the guy works a crowd unbelievably. He knows how to make and draw the heat.
No, I totally agree. I think he's been underrated for a long, long time, and I'm glad that he's finally on the big show in one capacity or another. Every wrestler, whether they want to admit it or not, wants to be seen by as many people as possible, and the vehicle he's in right now is certainly giving him that opportunity.
Hey, Conrad, this is Smitty. I got a question for you. When I would grow up in wrestling, my favorite part of wrestling was in the match when like several of the bad guys would jump a good guy, and they'd be beating him up, and the crowd would be like screaming like, "Oh my God!" And then the spotlight would pop up on the top of the steps, and out would come Dusty Rhodes, wrapped in his big robe, and run to the ring and start beating everybody up, man, and just throwing him out of the ring and saving the guy. That was my favorite part of wrestling, my favorite section of it. What about you? What is it that draws you to wrestling?
Man, as a kid, it was really hard to beat Real American, and that theme song hitting, I remember just being over the moon as a kid with excitement that my hero, Hulk Hogan, was going to come to the ring and give the bad guys the what for, and that song really set the pace. And I totally identify with what you're saying, but I related less about the lights and the spotlights and more about the music. And I think that carried on for me later, when there would be a beat down in the ring and the glass would break and Austin would run to the ring. I think the music had that effect on me more so than anything else.
Yeah, I like the way they've started doing that more and more.
That was not done back in the day.
No, we didn't have that.
We didn't have that.
No.
It was just the spotlight, the excitement of there he is.
Yep.
You'd be cheering for him, Dusty, yelling for him like, "Oh, I hear him. They need me to come to the ring." It was great. I mean, the passion of the people, though. The lady sitting in there just screaming at a bad guy or something. It was incredible.
I listened to your past couple of weeks shows, and can I tell you, some of the catchphrases alone make me laugh more than anything. I've eaten chicken salad about 4 times this week. And I love Hogan Must Pose. That is the favorite. I love that. I think that is hilarious.
Well, I really appreciate you listening. And, of course, what we're talking about is something to wrestle with, Bruce Prichard. And you can go ahead and pick up a shirt that kind of supports the show. And you can be expressive about what your favorite catchphrase is at brucepritchard.com. We do have a red and yellow Must Pose shirt that's brand new this week. And, of course, we've got the classic chicken salad recipe card, and in our brand new episode that dropped at noon Eastern today about the 1994 Royal Rumble, we have a little more fun with Jerry Jarrett and chicken salad. I won't ruin it for you, but it's worth the download for that alone.
Oh, I can't wait. You take the chicken and I just love it. Bruce is he's so good with the impressions that it cracks me up. I want to tell you that I grew up as a child in a apartment complex, and I had about 7 wrestlers living there at one time. We had both the Funk Brothers, Hercules Hernandez, Scott McGee, One Man Gang, and of course the adorable, what was his name? Exotic Adrian Street. All at one time.
Wow.
And, just to be around that and see these guys wrestling every night, it's like it's fun to be around them as a teenager. And I really didn't get smartened up till I was later on in life and I got around radio and stuff. And then I started finding out that I could do a few impressions. And, one thing led to another. And, I did a few things on the radio, and I got to become friends with Brian Adams, Kona Crush, and Brian was a great guy. I started cleaning his swimming pool, and we kind of became good friends, and I was doing these bits on the radio with Randy, pretty much burying Hulk Hogan every week, and one day he handed me the phone with Randy on the other end, And that was quite an interesting conversation. And I thought I'd reached the peak of my life until we were at the fairgrounds, and Dusty was there. And they sat me down next to him, and they looked at me on the air, and they said, Dusty Rhodes, meet Dusty Rhodes. And I was like, Gordon Foley, let me tell you one time here, live at the Florida State Fair, baby. And it was just the pinnacle of my life, because Dusty was the all-time hero in my whole life. Nothing was better than
Here
the American
locally,
Dream.
For sure, yes.
Yeah. We saw him every night.
I totally identify with that. I grew up a huge Ric Flair fan, of course, and the first time I had the opportunity to meet him, it was very surreal. But I did get an opportunity to meet Dusty before he passed away, and it's a moment I won't soon forget.
Yeah.
Who was the guy we saw wrestling in the parking lot?
Sheamus. We actually saw Sheamus when he was at FCW. For the first time, of course, he comes out, and they're in a parking lot at a car lot that Dusty's outside signing autographs while all these guys are wrestling, and one of them happened to be Sheamus, and of course he's white as a sheet. It's in the middle of February, cold outside, and he's screaming how he hates the sun. So that was quite interesting.
To mess with him.
Quite interesting. But I love being
Sheamus, if you've ever had an opportunity, or if you ever do have an opportunity, is one of the nicer guys on the current roster. I've had an opportunity to meet him several times, and just watching on TV, you don't really get that impression. But live and in person, he could not be a cooler guy and a bigger wrestling fan and more hospitable. So if you have an opportunity to meet Sheamus, I would certainly recommend that you go check him out.
Yeah, I would definitely.
It's just funny how fast he shot up.
Yeah.
I mean, he went literally within a month or two, or several months, from the parking lot of the ABC Autos to being the headliner in the.
Well, goddamn, pal! When you look like Sheamus, you got to get him out there, pal.
That's
right. Sheamus must pose.
Sheamus must pose. I mean, it's not
a
rib.
How about Carney? I know you can do some Carney awesome.
Spizzeking some Kiz Arnie? I've been spizzeking some Kiz Arnie his old Liz life. Are you down with the Carney?
I can understand it, but I can't speak it, especially after I've been doing 12-ounce curls for 6 hours.
Nice.
So, have you had any past experience in podcasting, or did you just get exposed to it with Rick?
Yeah, I haven't. I own a mortgage company here in Huntsville, Alabama, First Family Mortgage, and I'd be happy to help anybody listening.
You damn right.
Good job.
We're licensed in Florida and in most of the United States. 1fmc.com is the web address, or check me out on Twitter at Hey, it's Conrad. And so I advertise my mortgage company on the radio here in Huntsville and in Chattanooga and in Knoxville and in Nashville and Birmingham and et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of that involves a live radio spot, sometimes morning drive, sometimes afternoon drive, sometimes both. And Rick and I had grown to be really good friends. And so as we would travel together, money never sleeps, Bud Fox. So I'd have to do those live commercials. And so he felt like I had enough experience at being kind of on the spot, so to speak, that I wouldn't necessarily drop the ball. And he knew I knew enough about him and respected him and our friendship enough to not put him in a bad spot. And, of course, I'm a huge wrestling fan. So I've learned a lot about wrestling and paid a lot of attention to wrestling. So he felt like I would be a good candidate to just sit in on the very first show and just sort of make him comfortable. He didn't really have a lot of confidence that he could just stare at a microphone and carry a show. He was used to having something or someone to play off of, and I totally got that. So I sat in on the first show, and it went well, and he never asked me to, stop coming. So I keep coming every week, and before you know it, I'm introduced to Bruce Prichard. Bruce tells me a few stories, and I think, man, this is what wrestling fans want to hear. Not necessarily an interview, but more of just long form about one specific topic, and something to wrestle with. Bruce Prichard was born.
I can tell you that you are so good at it. You're such a natural that that's what's got me interested in it. You got a great laugh, and you're so knowledgeable in wrestling that it blows me away on how much homework you've actually done, that you deserve to be the podcast champion of the world.
Well, I really appreciate that. I know you're referencing the belt that Bruce had made for me for Christmas from leatherbydan.com, and he's one of our sponsors and one of my very good friends. And it was one of the coolest presents I've ever gotten. It's got my face on the main plate, which really I have a face for radio. That's not supposed to be on a title belt, but it is now, and I proudly display it here at my home. And I appreciate you saying that. You can tell that I do a lot of research and really care about it, because I do put in quite a bit of time each week trying to be as thorough as possible and put together a show that I, as a fan, would want to listen to. Because in the end, I'm not on the inner circle. I'm not one of the boys. I'm not a wrestler. I'm not a performer. I'm just the first listener, and that's kind of the way I approach it. This is something I would listen to, so I want to make sure that when we're doing the show, is this something I would think is good? And if it's not good, I want to do it over again. There's been several shows that Bruce and I have taped, and I would tell him the next day, hey, I think we can do better. Let's do it again. And so we would retape the whole thing. And that's unheard of.
Right.
Wrestlers like to, quote unquote, call it in the ring. And whether it's good or it's bad, well, their marks, they'll love it. Well, I don't view it that way, because I'm one of those people. So I want it to be good. And so we really do pay a lot of attention and put a lot of work into it, and it means a lot when somebody recognizes that.
Well, I appreciate it, because I want to tell you, I'm a pool man. I've been cleaning swimming pools here in Tampa for 30-plus years, and my only entertainment all day long, because I don't have anybody standing over me telling me what to do, is the little headphones I have in my ear with my little iPod, listening to various podcasts, and I have several of yours, and I listen to them daily, and I'm entertained so much that people actually think I'm crazy, because I'm laughing so much during the day, and they're, what is this guy listening to that's so entertaining? And they don't have any idea, because of course they're not wrestling fans and they're not hearing it. But again, I just want to give you props. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, man. I'm a huge fan, and I appreciate you for taking your time out and coming out and talking to us.
Man, it means a lot to be invited. I really appreciate it. As I said a minute ago, I'm just a fan. I'm the first fan. I'm the first listener. But I'm working hard at it, and we're trying to put together something cool, and it's really nice to be, appreciated and recognized for that. So thank you again.
I appreciate that. If you got one more minute, I'd like to play a quick game with you if you got a second.
I've got all the time in the world. I'm home, and I don't think I'm legally allowed to drive.
Oh, so
Nice.
you're home at the Conradison, and you're in full fashion there at the bar, and not getting overserved, right?
Well, if I'm overserved, it's because I did it to myself. So roll tide on that.
Roll tide. Are you still a Crown Reserve fan?
Man, I have been on the Crown Reserve kick for more than 10 years now. I don't remember who first introduced me to it. My first liquor that I really loved was Crown Royal. I ventured off for a little while into Jim Beam, and then I came to my senses and came back. And then someone introduced me to Crown Royal Special Reserve, and man, it was love at first sight. We've been rocking and rolling for more than a dozen years now.
It's good stuff. I actually have a bottle of Crown Vanilla that I'm really partial to. We just haven't found the right soda to mix it with. We're thinking Dr. Pepper, maybe.
I've been told that Crown Vanilla with a cherry Coke is off the charts. But I haven't tried that. Here in Alabama, I've got friends who drink Crown Apple like it's going out of style, and they'll mix it with anything. But I've been told that and even sweet tea is good, which is really hard for me to imagine.
Wow.
Gin is good with sweet tea.
Gin with
Gin.
Yeah. I can't drink gin.
I don't either. Not anymore.
No. Did you hear the latest person who could possibly hitting the Royal Rumble? Samoa Joe is getting the call up.
Well, I'll tell you this. I saw a few betting sites today made him a 4-1 favorite to win the thing. If that were to happen, talk about a way to debut. Make your debut in the Rumble and then win it. I'm actually going to the Rumble. My daughter and I have bonded in a big way over wrestling over the last 18 months or so, and she's wanted to go to a Royal Rumble. Last year it just didn't make sense. This year we're going, so we'll be in San Antonio, and I'll be in a crowd cheering my lungs out for Samoa Joe, somebody who I think has deserved this opportunity for a long, long time.
Yeah, I like Samoa Joe. I think he's a great guy, a great talent, and I'm glad. I hope they give him the call up. I think this year's Rumble is going to be one of the best ones yet. They got a lot of talent that are hitting the ways there. And any chance you think Kurt Angle maybe hit the ring since he's now been announced as a candidate for Hall of Fame?
Well, I'll tell you this. I know for sure, and I don't know how much of this is out there. He wasn't contacted until the morning of when they announced him. They didn't want it to leak. They didn't want it out. They didn't want him to spoil it. So they contacted him that morning, faxed over the information. He went ahead and signed the contract. And the contract is good until WrestleMania. So
Wow.
He's just not allowed to be on TV for anyone else. But as long as he doesn't do that, he's not in violation of that contract. So that, to me, lends itself for, hey, if he's going to do something, why not do it in the Rumble, simply because there won't be as big of a physical demand. And if he were to build towards a WrestleMania match, you could kind of be in and out and not have as crazy of a spotlight on you and physical demand in a Rumble, and that could potentially set up a match at WrestleMania. And our mutual friend Bruce Prichard suggested to me this week over some fine dining at our local Waffle House, why don't they do Undertaker and Kurt Angle at WrestleMania?
Wow.
That in a retirement match, to me, would be a really big deal. Of course, those guys never faced each other at WrestleMania. I think they could give each other a good match, and I think they would leave it all in the ring. So if we get to fantasy book, I'd like to see Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels and Samoa Joe all make big surprise entries into the Royal Rumble this year.
That would be fantastic, especially Shawn Michaels. Man, you got to have the showstopper. That's fantastic. That would be great. That would really, I mean, just with the caliber of people you got in there this year, what better spotlight than to do it now, if you're going to do it at all, especially in his hometown, right?
Absolutely. I think it adds a lot that it's in San Antonio, that it's the 20-year anniversary of him winning the title. I think the place would go absolutely bananas if he were to enter the ring there. And if he did, and it set up a WrestleMania match, how cool would it be to see Shawn Michaels and AJ Styles at WrestleMania for the world title in one last run? And then, of course, maybe a retirement match like Kurt Angle and The Undertaker. And obviously, we've still got fun opportunities with a Goldberg and a Brock Lesnar. I mean, this WrestleMania is really starting to look like and feel like it has the potential to be one of the very best, most stacked cards we've ever had. Now it's up to WWE to see what we can actually crank out, what's real, what's fantasy, and what will happen on April 2nd.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. It's like you said, it's the spotlight is there. It's all up to Vince to get everything, get all the ducks in a row, and get them out there, pal, because we got to make that money. That's what makes money. Hogan's got to pose. Real quick before you go,
Hogan must pose. Check it out, the T-shirt, BrucePrichard.com. It's brand new, and you're going to love it.
I love those tees. I actually bought Smitty a Ric Flair shirt from there, so thank you to that. I will be buying more shirts in the future from there. Real quick, I have this quick game called two count kick out. I'll give you a name of a person having to do with wrestling. You give me a 1 to 2 word description of that person.
All right.
Mike Graham.
Sad.
Yeah, very much so. Gordon Soley.
Classic.
Buddy Colt.
No idea.
Gary Hart.
Misunderstood.
Iron Mike Sharp.
Movie star.
I like that. All right, 2 more, and then I'll stop. Sir Oliver Humperdinck.
Nice style.
Chubby redhead.
He had a heck of a mind for the business, for sure. And the last name on the book, you may know him, you may not. I'm sure you do, because he was kind of imaged himself after Ric Flair. Golden Boy, Chick Donovan.
Jobber.
Yeah, total jobber. That's the word I was looking for.
Gio said prick.
How about this? I've got to say, I had no idea who you're talking about, but when you set me up the way you did, I could kind of feed off that's what you meant. I wouldn't normally even use the word jobber. Guys like Arn Anderson would tell me to use the word carpenter instead, but I kind of had a feeling that you really wanted me to go ahead and do a little knife edge chop. So there you go.
No, I like that.
Nice.
It's a solid nice edge chop.
That fits our.
You
that
duck
fits our
under,
persona.
go behind, and you got him with the knife edge chop. I like that. Well, again, thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule. Go ahead and pimp your stuff one more time. Tell the people, because you're live right now, tell the people at home where they can find you each week, and let them all know.
Well, here's the deal. If you'd like to save some money, man, we'd be proud to help you save some money. Whether you're looking to buy a house with no money down, maybe you're not so sure that you have enough down payment or the credit to get a house, we routinely help families buy homes with no money down and credit scores in the 500s at 1fmc.com. Maybe you need to go ahead and consolidate some debt, pay off some Christmas credit card debt, or go ahead and get a lower monthly payment. We can help you do that, too, at 1fmc.com. I'm on Twitter at Hey, it's Conrad. The show we're talking about today a lot is Something to Wrestle With, Bruce Prichard. It's on MLW Radio and everywhere else you may enjoy podcasts, from Spotify to TuneIn to Stitcher, literally everywhere, every Friday at noon Eastern. And you can check us out on Twitter at Prichard Show. We put up a poll every single Sunday afternoon, and we put that poll up to let you dictate the format of the show. What do you want to hear the following Friday? Well, just go to at Prichard Show on Twitter, cast your vote, and that's what you'll hear next Friday. It's that simple. I don't know another podcast doing it that way, and we'd be proud to have you as a listener at Prichard Show on Twitter.
Fantastic, man. You have a fantastic radio voice, and you just keep doing what you're doing and stay natural to the cause, and we will be there to support you any way we can. I talk to you once in a while on Twitter. You can talk to Bruce at Bruce Prichard on Twitter, or at Hey Conrad on Twitter. Talk to him. Listen to the shows if you're a wrestling fan, because the guy knows what he's talking about. It's amazing, funny stuff, and I love the content. The way you lead him on is just the fantastic, because he's like a flip of a coin. He can be ups or down, and I just enjoy that.
I really appreciate that. You know, we're friends in real life, so it lends itself to me being able to bust his balls a little more. And when he says something that I think's BS, I'll call him out on it. And a lot of times with a talent and a co-host, that's not the case. With he and I, though, we can just shoot straight. And if that's what you're in the mood for, I challenge you to check out one episode. And pick any episode you like. And if you're not satisfied with it, we'll issue you a full refund. No problem. It's Something to Wrestle With, Bruce Prichard.
Thanks again, Conrad. You take care of yourself, and thanks for talking to us. And I'll be talking to you down the road on Twitter.
Sweet.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it, man. Hope you guys make it to our live show. We'd love to see you in Orlando.
I'm going to look into that. Tell the people at home real quick, because you're live in Tampa, and that's coming up, in March?
Yeah, it's April 1st. It's the night before WrestleMania. So if you're planning to make the trek over to Orlando for WrestleMania weekend, you don't have to sacrifice any other big wrestling shows. You can actually go ahead and attend NXT, and then at the conclusion of NXT, go just less than 2 blocks away to Back Booth, and that's where you'll see Something to Wrestle With live. We've confirmed half a dozen guests that are going to be there. Some of those guests are under contract. They don't want us to record it or film it. There will be alcohol involved. It will be late at night. It'll be a very intimate atmosphere. We've completely sold out of VIP. This is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You won't see these guys on stage with alcohol, live mics, and no repercussions from filming. They're going to shoot straight with you. It's going to be awesome. It's notarib.com. Right after NXT, the night before WrestleMania, you want to be there, notarib.com.
I got an actual picture of it right now live on the screen for the people at home. They can check it out and go to your website, notarib.com, if they want to go to it. And I will definitely look into it, and I look forward to meeting you and talking to you in the future.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate the opportunity to come on, and it means a lot that you guys would invite another fan on to talk a little wrestling with you today.
Thank you, Conrad.
Sweet.
Thank you. Have a good time, and be safe out there.
Thanks, bud. Talk soon.
Take care.
See ya. All right, there you go. Conrad Thompson from Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard. Bruce Prichard, if you're not familiar with the name, go back and look at the WWE and go look at Brother Love. Do you remember Brother Love? Brother Love, I love you. Brother Love.
I got nothing but love for you.
I love you.
Was that Bruce Prichard?
That's Bruce Prichard. Bruce Prichard played the part of Brother Love for so many years in the WWE. He was actually a co-writer in the WWE.
Seeing the picture,
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
He's got a younger brother that is an actual wrestler, Tom Prichard, Dr. Tom Prichard. He did most of the wrestling. Bruce did wrestle a little bit, but he was mostly a backstage guy. And he's very knowledgeable. Conrad, to me, is fantastic. That guy knows. I mean, he's got a great voice for radio for what we do, and that's why I wanted to talk to him. That guy knows a lot about podcasting, and I'm glad he was called our little tiny show.
He had a nice little pimp for his show there.
Yeah, that was cool, man. Hey, run it out there because it's out there, and that's what I want. He could have did it. He did it far better than I could have. I would have stepped all over it. I know most of his stuff, but I would have stepped all over it. This guy, he can sell. He's a salesman. I mean, he's First Family Mortgage. I was telling Smitty, he does the belts. You can go to and have a belt done. And you saw the one belt that showed the world. You can have any belt done like that for it's $1,000, and the guy takes payment plans and everything. But you can have anything in the world put on that belt.
Yep.
And I told Smitty he should have one for his wife or whatever, and have Dick Sucker, champion of the world, put on it. And he didn't think that was a good idea. He thought it was a great idea, but he didn't think his wife would think it was a great idea. So
yeah,
been frowned on that one, so I'm not sure.
I'd spend $1,000 on something else.
You would?
Yeah.
For the wife.
You think you get blown for $1,000? You buy her a Dick Sucker belt?
You bring her home a belt, she's not going to be horny.
It's like buying her pots and pans or something.
Honey, I just bought you a $1,000 Dick Sucker belt. Yeah, can I get blown? No.
Am I going to get lucky tonight?
No, you're not.
No.
You'll be lucky if you're not sleeping on the couch.
Exactly.